Good morning, YouTube. What a wonderful day in Texas today. It's just marvelous. We got just the right amount of rain and all the flowers and everything just coming out. And we're going to have a really good shade this year. I mean, the trees are just sparkling this year with all this nice rain and that we've got at regular intervals. Not so much rain, but we've just got it at the regular intervals like it should be. And so it's just caused everything to really sparkle. And it's just, it just reminds me of all the love and the joy and the peace that is just being poured out upon this world. It's just been poured out at the right rate, the right rate that needs to be, and overabundance of joy and peace and love is just being poured out upon this world, and just lifting people up, and they're rising just like the flowers and the trees, just rising in consciousness and reaching out for that joy and love and peace is coming down like the rain. And it's just so marvelous. It's just the way it's just raining down on us, and it's the time in our history for consciousness to rise, and the joy and the peace is just pouring in to help it to rise. And as we rise in consciousness, we see more joy and peace. We become more joyful and more peaceful and more happy and full of love. And our consciousness just begins to bring in more and more abundance to us from all of this. It's just part of consciousness raising, that more joy and love and peace and abundance will come. And now, if you don't have joy and peace and love like that, well, just remember that infinite mind, God, a source, all substance, is omnipotent, infinite, omnipresent love, and infinite, omnipotent, omnipresent joy, infinite, omnipresent, infinite, omnipotent, omnipresent peace. It's omnipresent. And so if we don't have it operating in our life and creating abundance for us, then that just means that we have not lifted our consciousness to it, because it's omnipresent. It's there. But through feeding our mind other thoughts of limitation and lack and things of too much materiality that would be in other words, getting our mind on that materiality and thinking that we are limited in the amount of materiality, perhaps, and therefore that limited amount of materiality is going to keep us from lifting our consciousness to realize love, joy, and peace. And then when we do that, then we take away that room within our consciousness to begin to pour out the love, joy, and the peace, because we got our mind all full of I'm limited in this way and that way, and so I'll wait until till I'm totally full of everything I can possibly pull in material wise, and then I know when I do that, well, then joy and love and happiness will be there, and so I'm not going to be happy until I see all of that substance coming. Well, you've got to get yourself your consciousness raised to where you have the joy and the peace and the love at first beforehand, or else you're going to be missing out on a whole lot of abundance, because the love, joy, and the peace and the happiness and all is going to be your power of attraction to draw in the material things that you needed. As the scripture says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these other things will be added. That means seek ye first to lift your consciousness, lift up your eyes into the hills, as the psalmist said. Seek first to lift up your eyes of your understanding and your awareness, and then as you do that, you'll see easily how to draw in all abundance. And so that's what we need to do this morning. If you're not all full of joy, and you don't feel all forms of exhilaration just lifting you up in all kinds of ways as you look out upon this earth, and you're not excited about all the things that are coming in the future, and not excited about what a wonderful world is coming down, and the new earth that is descending down upon this earth at a rapid geometric rate, and you don't see all these things happening, then what you need to do is lift up your consciousness higher, spend time in meditation, go into meditation for a period of time, and live and begin to, and get all the other things off your mind. Lift your consciousness higher in that period of time, and think about how omnipotent and omnipresent and omniscient. All of the infinite mind that goes throughout the entire universe, how omnipotent and omnipresent it is, and how powerful it is, and how all present, just like it's just over the entire world, just even but more vast than the oxygen and the nitrogen and everything that's in the air. It's just all present within every inch of the air. Love and joy and peace and all we could use is all there. We just have to draw it in. We have to lift our consciousness to it and draw it in. And so let us. We've got a wonderful program here this morning with Tanya Love, which I'm going to be listening to, and she always just brings us marvelous thoughts. Look at how she's boy, she's just really she's really fixing to lay it on us this morning. Well, you can just tell by the way she's getting ready there that she's just really gonna lay it on us this morning, and we need to as we begin to listen to programs like that, then we need to begin to attempt to open our mind and allow it to pour in upon us. Get all other distractions out of the way. Get everything off of your mind and just begin to listen to what she has to say on the programs. And other good people like her on YouTube, listen to what they have to say and realize the truth of it, and let it soak in like the rain soaks into the ground and brings out the flowers and trees. And as the truth that she brings forth soaks in, it'll begin to bring out the flowering of your life in joy and peace and abundance. And so we have all of this joy and the peace and abundance available. Believe me, it is available. There's no reason for pessimism or fear or doubt or worry or anxiety of any kind. There's no reason for any of that. There's nothing going to stop this new earth from coming down at a rapid rate because our consciousness, collective consciousness, is at that point in time. And this has been said by all numbers of people, not just me, but believe me, it is accurate that our consciousness is at that point in history and time and in eternity that it is ready to raise itself to another level. We're ready to ascend to another level in consciousness collectively over the face of the earth. It's beginning to happen, and as that begins to happen, then more of this love, joy, and peace and happiness will begin to sweep over the face of the earth, and behind it will come more prosperity and more abundance for everyone. And so then the world is going to become a much better place to live in. You know, just like if it's been dry for a long time and then it rains, well then the place where where that drought was going on becomes a much better place to live, much more joyful. You look around and there's a lot more flowers and a lot more trees, a lot more things to enjoy, and you feel a freshness in the air. Well, that's going to happen as this begins to descend down upon us. More things there's going to be a lot more excitement and exhilaration about people getting together over the face of the earth, and people transacting everything from business to communications together is just going to mushroom, and people will be thrilled about getting to know people in all other countries of the world and not just their own country. And they'll be thrilled, begin to get more and more thrilled about learning more languages, and sometimes traveling to these other countries and visiting these other countries. But when they don't travel, communicating through the internet with other countries, and people just generally rising their consciousness together and communicating together. They're going to get more and more excited about that in the coming years. And so we've got every reason to just be thrilled this morning, every reason to just be thrilled and happy about the state of things, and how anybody could ever come on, whether it's the news media or on any of the forms of social media, or on a Hollywood produced movie or whatever it is, how they could ever come on and talk about all things are just going to just go from bad to worse, and all we're just going to end up in a cesspool, and we're just going to end up in a some kind of a uh, terrible thing happening to people in some country or some place, or how we can just fill our minds with all of that kind of thing, and believe all of that kind of stuff when we got such marvelous things going on. You need to turn all of that off and put your mind on good programs like this Tanya Love program here, and other good programs like that, and you'll begin to see what is coming, and how many marvelous things that we have to look forward to. And so I am just so tremendously excited about the future, and I am just so thankful, by the way, of the opportunity to get on here and spread this message across the world as people begin to find my channel and listen to it in all countries of the world. Eventually they will, and they'll begin to enjoy these programs. And I'm just so excited about being able to do that, and so grateful. I'm just so grateful to Infinite Mind. I thank Infinite Mind every day out of gratitude that I'm able to bring these things out to where people, it's at least accessible to people all over the world. And that's a thrilling thing to think about, that it's at least accessible to people throughout the world. And perhaps long after I've passed on, ascended on up into higher levels of consciousness, where they maybe perhaps they don't see me anymore in the place, and maybe I'm in a much better state, far beyond past all of that. The thoughts and all that I'm bringing forth will still be available. I may not ever even know that it's ever reached into other countries of the world or anything. I may never even know that, because it may be years, it may be hundreds of years from now before people find this message. But I'm just so thankful that I'm able to put this out so that it'll be there when people do decide to find it. And it's just something that's been a dream of mine ever since a small boy. I mean, I didn't know that there was going to be a YouTube, because we didn't have YouTube at that time. But I had a dream of reaching out into the world like that, with wonderful thoughts of love and joy and peace ever since I was very small. And I've always, and of course at that time I thought, well, it would just be that I would be speaking before crowds, 10,000 or 100,000 people, speaking before crowds like that. That's kind of what I visualized was how that it would happen. And so that stayed with me all through the years that needed to be done. And I kept looking forward to it, and thinking that, well, hopefully sometime that would eventually happen. And then I having no idea that YouTube was coming along. But all of this time, Infinite Mind was graciously preparing me for the time when I would have an instrument like this to be able to put out this message. And so I'm going to be putting out more and more wonderful things like this that Infinite Mind's been telling me all my life, and things that have just grown on me all my life. They're just so marvelous and so wonderful, just far beyond anything you could probably imagine. And I'm going to be putting those out in the future. But I'm just so excited and thrilled this morning that we've got so many on YouTube that are bringing out this same message. And they're just bringing out this same message of joy and peace and love and understanding, and that all we have to do is lift our understanding, our awareness to it, and we'll see it, and it'll spread across the world faster and faster, and it's going to do that. And it's already doing it. You can see it. You can see more and more people coming on every day expressing this same message and raising that we're just going to be transformed into just and become more and more light, and more bright and shiny, and more pure in our thoughts, and more uplifted in our thoughts, to where we can see much more than what we are able to see now. We'll be able to reach out we'll be able to look out with our eyes of our physical eyes and our eyes of our understanding across this world and see much more abundance, how even the deserts will bloom, and how every inch of the earth will just be produce 1,000 times as much abundance and prosperity, and 1,000 times as much everything from food to everything else that people need, 1,000 times what it is now. And so I'm just very excited about it, and I hope that you will be too.